It's dawned on me that this reasonable facsimile of a podcast is really just a blog, which is what Writing with James was to begin with. But I wanted to open with telling you I'm hoping to build this up to something closer to an actual podcast and maybe have guests and such. Right now, I don't have the setup to do that, and my schedule is too hectic to plan anything, but eventually I'd like to do something like that. For now, it will just have to be a glorified blog. But anyway, there are a couple of things I wanted to get into this time, and I thought I would start with a Hall of Fame update and follow up with getting into this copyright claim stuff I had recently. I haven't gone into a rant for a little while, so that will be nice. Oh, the visual. I'll need to go with something I know for sure won't get a copyright claim. So let's start with Buddy Roberts of the Fabulous Freebirds against Mark Youngblood. This is World Class Wrestling from, I believe, February 1986. I don't know how long this is going to be, so if I need to use more, there will be maybe some interviews or something at the end. Okay, the voting for YouTube's Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame is going pretty well. There has been a pretty decent response. Better than I expected, really. Since this is the first time we're trying this, I kind of left it open to when the voting ends, and I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it up through this month and close it out. Well, let's just say July 29th. Then sometime in August, present the first inductees. If you don't know about the Hall of Fame, this is the People's Choice Hall of Fame. We started on the channel. There are links in the description, and there is a post on the channel homepage to get the 5 different polls. You can vote for up to 5 different people in each poll, and the top 3 vote getters will be part of the inaugural class. Now, I tried to put it together to give some kind of balance between the classic wrestlers who started in the 30s and 40s on up to more modern legends from the 70s and 80s. Unless more votes have come in before I put this out, Buddy Rogers is leading the 1949 and before poll, which what poll people went into was based on when they made their debut. Ed Strangler Lewis, Luthez, Dory Funk Sr., Gorgeous George, and Stu Hart are all doing well in the voting there as well, but Buddy Rogers is leading. Bruno Sammartino is leading the 1950s poll and has more than double second place in that poll. Danny Hodge, Fritz Von Erich, Nick Bockwinkel, and the Sheik Ed Farad also within striking distance right now. For the 1960s poll, there is a tie for first place between Dusty Rhodes and Andre the Giant. That could be interesting to watch. Roddy Piper, Harley Race, Bobby Heenan, Terry Funk, and Dory Funk Jr. are all fighting for that third spot. Ric Flair is leading the 1970s poll and is also the overall top vote getter with just a little more than Dusty and Andre. Bret Hart, Superstar Billy Graham, Bob Backlund, Randy Savage, Bruiser Brody, and Hulk Hogan are all doing well in that poll. Another tie is in the 1980s poll. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Sting are sitting on top of that poll, but are not really running away with it. Ric Flair is pretty well running away with the 1970s, but Steve Austin and Sting are leading, but they're not that far ahead. Jim Cornette, Road Warrior Animal, Road Warrior Hawk, The Undertaker, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham are all well within striking distance. So there has been a nice response so far. Hopefully we can build on that and make this an annual thing. Again, links are in the description if you haven't voted already. And remember, the polls close on July 29th. Okay, another thing about this podcast, and I try to do it as close, what they used to call live on tape. Kind of like when Johnny Carson would do his show, and what that meant is it was recorded, but they presented it as if, with no edits and stuff like that. I try to do that as much as I can. I'll occasionally cut out a burp. But because of this, sometimes you get stuff in the background. The neighbors are doing something over there. You may hear, I don't know if it's picking up on the mic or not, but You may hear something in the background. Anyway. Okay, you may have seen the post about the 5 reasons pro wrestling was better in the Territory Days video. After the video had been up a week, I got 2 copyright claims from WWE on that video, and I just wanted to explain a little more in a little more detail what happened. At first, I didn't think either of the claims were legitimate. But I will say, after finally managing to go back and take care of it, the second claim was on a different clip than I originally thought it was. And that one might be legitimate. I'm still not sure about the other one. And I don't think it is legit, but one of them might be. And probably is. All that video I use from World Class is from the shows that were taped in Fort Worth on Monday night and aired the following Saturday on KTVT Channel 11. Okay, the thing about those videos is that during that time, KTVT did not keep a library of their Saturday night show. Just a sign of the times and the fact that it was an independent television station that was looking to save money any way they could. Channel 11 would use the same tape over again. Now, I'm sure they had more than one, but when they taped the show, they would eventually record over it. So there was no library of shows from Channel 11. The only copies out there are ones that were recorded by fans when the show originally aired on television. As far as copyrights and all that goes, legally speaking, nobody owns that video. Okay, when WWE bought the World Class Video Library, there was nothing from the Fort Worth shows in that deal because the library doesn't exist. The problem is that sometimes the syndicated show from the Sportatorium in Dallas, which WWE does own that library, they would show a clip from Fort Worth, from the Fort Worth show, on that broadcast. So if I use a piece of video that includes one of those clips, then WWE can make a copyright claim. I think if it were to be pushed to an actual court case, I would actually win. Because the precedent was set with the Sopa Entertainment versus Dodger Productions case, in which any video that was rebroadcast from another show can't be claimed, and that's what they're doing. They are claiming video that was rebroadcast on the syndicated show, but did not originally air on that syndicated show. It would be like if I tried to hit someone with a copyright claim for using the same world-class video I used. I don't own it. I just own it in the context of the video and audio I put together. Of course, I don't have pockets deep enough to take WWE to court over a 7-minute YouTube video. And YouTube doesn't make it any easier with their copyright claim process. It's me against a global corporation, and I'm not going to win. It's not the first time I have received a copyright claim, and all of them I've received have been from WWE. Well, except one. That's when I was doing a thing called YouTube Suggestions, where I recommended other small YouTube channels, and one of them ended up signing the legal rights of his videos over to a company. So 2 years after the fact, I got a copyright claim from them. But that was taken care of a long time ago. There are 3 or 4 world-class bios I've gotten a claim on. One was a 5-second clip of Kamala standing on the apron of the ring looking out at the crowd. So that gives you an idea of how petty they can get with these claims. What I would do before, knowing I wasn't going to win any kind of dispute or appeal, I would simply trim out that video. These claims usually came, after the video has been up a little while, so I don't want to take the video down and lose all the views and the watch time. And luckily, for the most part, it hasn't really hurt the videos too much. The edited part is in a good place, and it just means there are a few seconds that aren't there anymore. This time I wasn't able to do that at first. When I tried to trim out the parts that were claimed, it said it couldn't be trimmed. because of multi-language audio tracks, which I didn't even know what that meant or why it prevented trimming out those segments. So, for the first time, I decided to dispute the claims and even cited the Sofa Entertainment versus Dodger Productions case. It was rejected in a matter of minutes. And the way YouTube's copyright claim process works is you get a notification of a claim, and it directs you to the part of the video that claim is on. That's where the confusion over that one claim came from. They had it a little off, and I was seeing video that wasn't part of the claim. You get the option of disputing the claim, muting the audio, or trimming out that part of the video. Now, muting the audio is really for music. That didn't apply to this. As I said, I wasn't able to trim that part of the video, so I decided to try the dispute. When you dispute a copyright claim on YouTube, the dispute doesn't go to YouTube, and it doesn't go to some other neutral third party. It goes to the claimant. In my case, it meant that means it went to WWE, which probably means it went to whatever low-level social media person WWE pays peanuts to scour over YouTube videos. They obviously rejected the dispute. If your dispute is rejected, as mine was, you have the option of filing an appeal on the rejected dispute. Now, that's when it starts getting a little scary. If your appeal is also rejected, you open yourself up to not only having the video taken down, but you also get a strike on your channel. So I would have had 2 copyright strikes. I had 2 claims, so it would be 2 strikes on my channel. If you get 3 strikes in a 90-day period, they can terminate your channel. So if I appealed and lost, there was a possibility I would have received 2 strikes for the 2 claims and been 2/3 of the way to losing my channel. Now, what makes that even worse is the fact that when you appeal a dispute, it doesn't go to YouTube, it doesn't go to a neutral third party, it goes to the claimant. So it would have gone to WWE, who had already rejected the dispute. Now, how do you think that would have gone? It really is a piss-poor copyright claim process. I understand. There are literally millions of videos uploaded to YouTube every day. It's a near miracle anybody finds a small channel like mine in the first place, which, thank you, by the way, for finding me and staying. So I understand that YouTube can't deep dive into each and every copyright claim. There are millions of videos uploaded to YouTube every day, and there are a lot of copyright claims every day. I dug around a bit, and I found that in 2021, in the first half of 2021, there were 722 million copyright claims made on YouTube. That's over 120 million a month on average, or just over 4 million a day on average. Now, it's probably lower than that now. You have to remember the time. The COVID lockdowns had people looking for something to do, and in early 2021, there was a surge of YouTube videos because people were looking for something to do. But the fact remains, YouTube would have to have an unreasonably big staff of people just to deal with the copyright claims. Either that or each disputed claim would literally take months to have a conclusion. However, that doesn't mean what they have in place is a good alternative. I guess we should just consider ourselves lucky the system isn't abused more than it is. I would like to see the claimant be required to provide proof of copyright when they make a claim. Show me the proof. I'll have less problem trimming that part out, which, by the way, I did figure out how to change the multi-language audio track, and I did clip those parts out, and the copyright claim was lifted. Or both of them. Apparently that's something new YouTube is doing since the last time I had to deal with this. But just show me the proof. Even if it is valid, and for whatever reason that part can't be trimmed out, just don't allow the video to be monetized by anybody. The irony of all this is, when the copyright claim was still on that video, I couldn't monetize it, but WWE would have been allowed to run ads on the video. So because of less than 20 seconds of video that WWE didn't create in the first place, they would have been allowed to monetize my video that they put no work into. That just, smacks of hypocrisy to me. Obviously, if an entire video is uploaded that is under copyright, that's a different story. But I think that in that case, they just, take the video down. Okay, well, sorry to bore you with legalities, but I just wanted everybody to know what was going on and allow myself to vent a little bit. I figured this was the best way to do that. Next time I'll have something a little more wrestling related and less just channel drama related. Next month I may not do one because we'll have all the Hall of Fame stuff coming up. But I also wanted to say I may put the world-class bios on the back burner for a little while. The temporary schedule at work is looking like it's not so temporary, and I may be working those extra hours longer than I thought. That gives me less time to work on videos. So I think for now I'm going to concentrate on title lineage videos and the occasional 5 things video. The world-class bios take a lot of time, as it is. And with less time to work on them, I don't want to end up back to rushing them or leaving the channel stagnant while I try to finish it up. I'm really not sure how long this is going to end up being. Not terribly long, but if more videos was used, I'll list what was used in the description. On the Writing with James blog, I would always end with something, either promotion for another channel or an outtake or something. I like to promote other small channels, so we're going to end this one with a request to check out another wrestling channel you might not be familiar with. Irish Wrestle Talk is a channel I've been subscribed to pretty much from the beginning. It's run by a wrestling fan from Ireland, as you might have guessed. And he is getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Sitting at 992 as I make this. I'll leave a link in the description and also in the upper right-hand corner of the video if you want to check that channel out. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to that channel and helping him reach that 1,000. All right, well, thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of that. It's hard for me to say I hope you enjoyed listening to me complain, but maybe you heard some things about the whole process you weren't aware of before. Again, if you haven't voted in the Hall of Fame polls, you have until the 29th of this month. Go check out Irish Wrestle Talk. If you haven't here already, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Not necessarily in that order. And I will see you next time.
Down. Hart also upset with Brian Adidas. A-D-I-A-S, Brian Adidas. You remember him well. Been in the Northwest, been to Europe, been to Florida. Been a very busy man.